What's up, nation? Today let's talk about Sony Direct dropping stock daily this week, Target and Walmart wins, and Cyberpunk 2077. All right, everyone, so we got a couple different topics I want to talk about today. The first of which is Sony Direct and their continued daily stock drops on the PlayStation 5. I think they are by far and away the most reliable retailer when it comes to getting consistent restock waves. We're seeing them go live daily so far this week, and I think we're going to continue to see that. So please stay plugged into Sony Direct if you're still trying to secure your console. I'm also going to share some of the issues that users reported today with the CAPTCHA and different things like that. So stick around for some tips to maybe get past that if that did happen to you today. And then we're also going to talk about how some people are still reporting Walmart walk-in waves and how you can maybe be on the lookout for future walk-in waves that you can just walk in and purchase your console at Walmart. And then Target actually did go live this morning as well. So we got a bunch of different stuff to cover. And then besides that, I do want to share with you guys Cyberpunk 2077, one of the most anticipated games of all, really the entire generation, is being released. And there's a specific thing that's kind of missing from the PlayStation 5 version. So I want to talk about that because it looks like Xbox is getting this feature that PlayStation 5 is not, so I want to dive through what that means. Now, before we do hop into all the details today, I just want to quickly invite everybody to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy the content today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming and console news as we're in the new generation of gaming. But with that, guys, let's dive into the details. I've talked about Sony Direct a number of different times on this channel and why I like them so much as a retailer. I know there's a bunch of people who have had frustrations with them and getting through the queue too early or not in time, and it does seem to be somewhat random. It seems like their technology isn't perfect, but with that, we by far get the most chances to purchase a PlayStation 5 console when it comes to Sony Direct, because they are getting the stock and they are turning around and putting it right onto their website, and it's almost pretty reliable that you can expect it to go live sometime in the middle of the afternoon, because they have historically been doing that every day. Like, very rarely will we see them go live late at night. It is sometimes like the 7 p.m., 8 p.m. window, but that's about as late as they go, and then they start about as early as noon or 1 or 2 p.m. Now, obviously, that varies based off what time zone you're in, but I mean, that's typically what we're seeing with them, so you can just kind of plan on, making sure that you're plugged into Twitter in the middle part of the day and making sure that as soon as the link goes live that you can try to hop into queue. Now, a lot of people are confused on if it's first come, first serve. I think it's intended to be, but there are issues that do pop up. And a big issue I want to talk about that happened on today's one is it had a bunch of people, myself included, repeating the CAPTCHA over and over. So, like, even though you were doing it correctly, it would actually think it's not correct or just give you a different one for whatever reason. Now, I don't know what the entire reason is for this, but what I will tell you is, if you're having an issue in one browser like that with a CAPTCHA thing, try to have a backup browser ready to go, whether that's, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge. Like, there's a bunch of different browsers you can download to have ready to go. So if you're having an issue with one, maybe try another. You can always clear your cookies and settings and stuff like that as well, but don't give up whenever you're getting that error message, because there's still people that get in, 10, 15 minutes after the link gets shared sometimes, that do make it through to the store and can purchase the console. So just stay plugged into Sony Direct this week. I think they're an excellent shot at going ahead and securing your console and getting it in hand before Christmas, because their turnaround time is like 2-day shipping, so it's fantastic. So just make sure you're watching for Sony Direct if you're still on the hunt for this PS5 console. And then I also want to cover Walmart still reporting walk-in wins. There's a bunch of people who are commenting on these videos, and they're also sharing it on Twitter, that they are being still successful with walking out with PlayStation 5 consoles from Walmart. Now, I think Walmart obviously pulled the plug on these inventory checker systems and even the PlayStation 5 console page on their website itself, so that way you don't know that they have stock. But if you guys have any way to go ahead and verify that before you drive to your store that they have stock, I mean, they may tell you that they don't if you call, but it's just an idea. If you're really trying to pick this thing up in person, Walmart does appear to be the only one that's still selling them on walk-ins in store, so it might just be worth it as a long shot to drive up there, talk to a manager in the electronics section, see if they'll share with you when the next shipment is coming in or something like that. And then if that's the case, you can maybe plan on getting there early that day. Now, obviously, practice social distancing. We're still in a pandemic, and that's why we don't want a bunch of walk-ins as far as Walmart goes. I mean, that's why they're trying to stop that from happening. And make sure you're polite with with the employees too, because I think a lot of it is people being overly aggressive with people whenever they're not deserving that. You know, they're just working and doing their job, and it seems like there's a lot of miscommunication on how if they're able to sell them in store, if you're supposed to purchase them online and then pick them up. But regardless, guys, Walmart has been a great retailer when it comes to picking this thing up, purchasing it the same day, and walking out with it in hand. So it is another backup plan that you have in case if you're still on the hunt for this thing. And then Target, on the other hand, went live this morning with what was supposed to be an online purchase and pickup in store. Some people were saying it was like having them ship it from the store to their home address, which was really interesting. So I don't know exactly how that all went down. Target has been dropping like extremely early in the morning. I'm not so much of a morning person myself, so I was not up for that drop, but they're dropping at like 6, 7 a.m., sometimes 5:30 a.m. Like it's really early in the morning is typically how Target is doing this on their stock drop. So keep an eye on them. I think that we'll continue to see them get little restock waves, but this one did prove to be extremely chaotic. I saw a bunch of people that said that they did get the console, but that mainly the overwhelming majority of people were just saying it was frustrating. They got it added to cart, it would never go through, or they could never even get it in their cart to begin with. So again, these retailers are just not set up with their online infrastructures the way they should be, and it's still proving to be frustrating to lock down a console from any of these, you know, major retailers when they go live online. But that being said, Twitter's still your place to be, because that's whenever, you know, when they have a surprise stock drop, those links get tweeted out right away. We also saw Ant Online go live for a minute today. So guys, PS5 is not out of stock. Don't pay the scalper prices unless if you're absolutely just wanting to like say I'm done with this and you're just going to do it, and maybe if your time is money and it's worth it for you to pay that, go ahead. But I mean, really, you can save yourself that money and not give in to scalpers and not, you know, make this okay, and you can turn around and find your console. You just really have to be plugged in at the right times. But we're going to continue to see Sony deliver these consoles just like they said they would in their tweet leading into Christmas. So just stay on the hunt, stay positive, and do everything you can to be as informed as possible for when these console drops go live. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is a highly anticipated game. It is Cyberpunk 2077. It is releasing tomorrow at the time of me filming this video. And then there was some news that came out today that on the PlayStation 5, it's missing a somewhat standard feature for this console generation. And I don't know if you guys will care about this a lot. I certainly don't, because it's already got the mode that I like, which is performance mode. It does appear that on the PlayStation 5 version of this game that you're able to go into performance mode and run it at 60 frames per second, but it's like a variable resolution that it runs at, so it's not like a locked 4K or anything like that. And so versus on the Xbox Series X version, what's kind of interesting about that is that they do actually have both modes. They have a performance mode and they have the visual fidelity mode, or the cinematic mode rather. And so that is something that you have the option to toggle between. So I'm hoping that they just update this to be included in the PlayStation 5, but it is interesting that we're seeing a huge game like this launch on the most popular platform, the PlayStation 5 right now, and it doesn't have one of those features. But I would be curious on what you guys use typically, because I prefer the higher frame rate over the graphical textures, but I know some people, you know, still are fine with 30 frames per second, and if that's the case, you might actually want that extra resolution. So let me know in the comments down below if that's going to be an issue for you. But I do want to read through the article of the details of what we know so far, and then hopefully you know, discussing if we might see a patch in the future. Cyberpunk 2077 does have a performance mode on PS5, and according to deputy editor Robert Ramsey, who now has the game, it runs fairly smoothly at 60 frames per second. Bizarrely, unlike Xbox Series X, this is the only option available. With the build on Microsoft's system, you can toggle to quality mode, which drops the frame rate to 30 frames per second but improves the overall resolution. It's unclear why this option is missing, but perhaps it's something that CD Projekt Red plans to patch in a later date. So my takeaway on this is that obviously this is launching on like 9 different platforms at the same time. It's literally every platform, previous gen and current gen, and it's also going like PC and Google Stadia even. So it's like all those versions, it seems like they maybe bit off a little bit more than they can chew, and they're kind of going through and updating this game as they go. Even the review copies that came out were very buggy, and there's like a huge day one patch. I think it's upwards of like 45 gigabytes is what we're hearing. So I mean, this is going to be a big download. It's a big game. It's very cinematic. It's going to have a bunch to offer, but if you're planning on picking this up day one on the PS5, just know that that 60 frame per second performance mode is going to be the only option, as opposed to the cinematic mode like you'll typically have options to, or like you will have the option to toggle on the Series X. But I do think we'll hopefully see this patched in sooner rather than later. I think these developers are just really trying to do their best to put out a solid game first, and then, you know, you kind of fine tune some of the back end stuff like different modes and things. So if they've already released a 45 gigabyte patch for this thing, there's no telling what they might do in the future. So hopefully we do see both options come in case if a lot of players want that. Like I said, myself, I'm perfectly fine with 60 frames per second, but I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are on that as well. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I did at this point in the video want to invite you all to leave me a comment. Let me know what your experience was with PlayStation Direct today. Were you successful in securing a console? Have you already secured it? So share kind of your game plan and strategy going forward, or if you've already been successful, please let me know that as well. And then also just share your final takeaways on Cyberpunk 2077. Are you planning on picking it up as a day one release? Or are you going to wait for more patches to come out in the future? So just share those opinions with me. And then before we do end the video, I do just want to quickly invite everybody one more time to join Sunbro Nation. If you haven't done so already, do so by subscribing below. Hit the like button on your way out on this video if you enjoyed the content today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming and console news as we're in the new generation of gaming. With that, guys, it's going to do it for me. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.